You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back to the Cabral Concept. It's great to be with you here today, celebrating this New Year's week and finishing the week strong with our Friday review. I'm excited to go over all the different events we have, not only, I would say, this week, which is the holiday week, but really flowing into next week, and especially talking about our community detox this coming Monday. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about all the different podcasts that I will be interviewed on over the next couple of weeks, and I would say into February. I'm going to be going over a book review today, so one of the books that I enjoyed reading with my time off, and I'll be going over a nice little piece of research, a follow-up from last week, and a brand new segment to the Friday review. So last year, every single Friday, we had our super nutrient of the week. 52 different vitamins. I covered all the vitamins. I went through all the minerals for the most part. We went through herbs, went through all sorts of different super nutrients that your body literally needs to be at its very best. This gave you the information so that if someone ever said, oh, there's no point in taking vitamins, there's no point in taking minerals, you don't need all of those great amino acids and all of those different types of things, you could say, no, here's the research. Here it is in real-world terminology that you can use and that you can understand so that you can always get it from whole foods and vegetables and fruit first. And then if you're needing, meaning if you are absolutely deficient in it, well, you could use a lower dose supplementation in order to combat whatever's going on with your lifestyle, environment, etc. So these are all things that you can take with you. They're actionable and you can share them with others. So I'm excited to bring a new segment, which I'll be sharing with you at least, I would say, for the next 12 to 16 weeks. And that is going to be understanding your lab results. So a lot of times you go to your PCP or you go to your MD and they give you your labs and they say everything looks okay. But you don't know if they're okay or not. Literally, a lot of these numbers are 1/10 of a point away from being out of range. So that does not mean they're optimal and it does not mean they're healthy. So what I'm going to do is really take the confusion out of lab tests. And what I want to do is the next time you get your blood work run or you do some subclinical based lab testing, you'll understand really what those numbers mean and why they're so important. And if you're not running those labs, I give you the information, what they're called, so that you can either ask your local functional medicine doctor or, of course, we can support you over at equilibriumnutrition.com. So it's completely up to you. I always give you every option available. And in just about 3 months, about 4 months, we'll have our first graduates from level 2 of the Integrative Health Practitioner Certification, and then we'll be recommending them to people all over the world. So we have Integrative Health Practitioners in New Zealand and Australia and in Germany and in France and in Spain, all of Europe. We have Integrative Health Practitioners in the UK. We have Integrative Health Practitioners right now in Canada, all over the United States and beyond, in Hawaii as well. So what we're going to do is we're really building up a health-based community so that it won't just be me, it won't just be my team, but it will be really everyone that we can share this message to out there. And we're certifying people that they're going to be able to help you with labs, and we're so looking forward to this. So hopefully you are as well. Hopefully you're bearing with me a little bit today as well. My voice is not what it could be or usually is, and that is because after hanging out with 9 little kids, 9 little ones under the age of 6 years old, so 6 and under, for the past 4 days or so, I've caught a little bit of whatever that virus is that they have. And I always say that to people just to let them know, like, literally, I'm not superhuman. And every once in a while, I will get a little bit of a cold. I will get a little bit of this voice-based issue. But the nice thing is, and I always tell people this as well, is that I no longer fear that. Even about, I would say 6 years ago or so, I always just used to fear becoming sick, and I would really try to stay away from situations and people if they had a cold or all those different types of things. But now I know that my immune system is so strong because if you're hearing a little bit of whether it's inflammation in my larynx, my throat, my back of my vocal cords, the issue is that this is all part of the healing process. When my body encountered one of these viruses, one of these infections that got passed on to my kids, and of course they're sneezing all over me and all those different types of things, and I'm not going to avoid them, is that my body is now fighting that particular virus. And I know that it will literally be gone within 72 hours. And so all I do is go back to the protocols I use to support my body, to boost my immune system that I've spoken about before in the Cabral concept, and that allows me to return my body back to equilibrium, back to health. So that's the nice thing. Today is Thursday. I'm recording this for tomorrow on Friday. I won't do extra speaking than I need to. Yesterday was literally an all-day consultation day from about 7:30 a.m. till about 6:30 at night. And now I will do as little speaking as I need to. Of course, I do speak pretty much all day long, but instead of speaking for 8 hours, which is a typical day, I'll be speaking for maybe 3 to 4 hours today. So what I will do is I will also then obviously support my throat. I mean, I feel great besides this, but I know that it's there. And then I'll get a little extra rest this weekend to the best of my ability, having a 4 and 6-year-old at home. So that's what I do. And then by Monday, I'll be good to go. Everything will be back to normal. So for the house calls this weekend, you'll hear a little bit of this raspiness. And I'm actually doing another interview today. I hate canceling on people. So I'll be doing an interview on their show. And of course, I'll kind of give that disclaimer that you'll hear a little bit of this raspiness in my voice. But I like to tell you as well that this is just the honest perspective of, I haven't gotten a cold or anything since early last March. And, now I have my first one. No big deal. I'll get maybe 1 or 2 during the winter season, and it will make my body stronger in the long run. All right. So let's get right into today's show. For those of you that have already got your Dr. Cabral detox or your functional medicine detox and are participating, check out cabralsupportgroup.com on Monday, even today, because we will be setting up for daily posts at cabralsupportgroup.com, which is just a free private Facebook group for our community. Any positive person is welcome to join, and we do invite you. So every day we'll be kind of posting our challenges with the detox. We'll be posting our wins. We'll be supporting each other along the way. So I'm very excited. Every 12 weeks we do our community detox, just like they spoke about many thousands of years ago in every form of ancient-based medicine. So if you are not participating this coming Monday, January 7th, that's okay. You can do it any time of the month that you choose to. And I do highly recommend that if you're doing a seasonal detox for the wintertime, that we do it now, that we kind of remove all the excess sugar that we took in. And you're not removing the excess sugar, but you're rebalancing those blood sugar levels and insulin levels. You're rebalancing healthy levels of inflammation. You're getting your body back to where it should be after all of the holidays. So that's what we do it. We do it in January. We do another one the end of March or beginning of April. We do another one right before the 4th of July. And then we do our last one in September before the new year after the summer's over. So always excited. It's always so great seeing all of the members who are either doing it for their first time or maybe their 10th time inside cabraldetox.com. So really, really great. And one thing I do want to mention, and this is important to me, if you are not doing the detox, but you still want to get rid of some of that holiday weight gain, I just want to give you a couple tips here today. So the first thing that you can do is the easiest, and that's simply to get back to your healthy eating that you were doing before. Is just pick a day. Typically a Sunday or Monday is the best day to say, okay, today's the day I start fresh. I'm going to get rid of those desserts I've been having, the cookies, the crackers, the candy, the chips, whatever it is after dinner. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back to my 3 meals or my 3 meals and a snack, whatever it might be. I'm going to go back to my clean eating. I'm going to get rid of the extra alcohol in my diet, whatever it might be. And I'm going to do that for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then you'll go back to your once a week flex meal, or maybe it's twice a week, right? So that's one way to do it. A second way is to do a 1-day fast out of the week. And so this coming Sunday night, you might just say, okay, well, I'm going to fast from my dinner on Sunday. I'm going to have my dinner Sunday. And then I'm going to go until Monday evening, until dinner time, and then I'll have dinner again. So you won't eat anything for that 24-hour period from Sunday night until Monday at dinner. So that's a great way to do it as well. Now, will the first 2 ways help you lose that holiday weight rapidly and quickly? No, but that's okay as well. Like, you'll be able to lose it at a little bit of a slower pace. but most likely, you're going to get back to those healthy eatings and that weight will come right back off. Remember, the average person gained about 6 pounds during the Thanksgiving here in the US, so about late November until January 1st. So the other way that you can do it, of course, is what I spoke about earlier, and that's a 7, 14, or 21-day Dr. Cabral detox. And of course, you can choose your favorite functional medicine detox, but it should be backed by science, and it should have all the vitamins, minerals, and sulfur-based amino acids in order to help you really rebalance those hormones, and that includes blood sugar, inflammation, etc. So those are all great ways to do it. We always link everything up in the show notes, so if you want to go to today's show notes, simply go to stephencabral.com/1064 for today's show. All right. One thing I always like to give all the shows that I've been interviewed on, well, the latest podcast I've been interviewed on, if you want to check this one out, is the Robin Openshaw Show. It's actually called The Vibe Show by Robin Openshaw. It was a great podcast. Really enjoyed the interview. Had a great conversation with Robin. And we went over essentially my story. So we usually start with my story and I always give a little bit different of a take on that each time. And then I talk about, how to really live your ideal life, how to take control of your life, the things that you can do, not focusing on the things that you can't do, that you have no control over, and how to live in balance, like how to live in balance with diet, how to live in balance with nutrition, how to really cut through all of the different fads out there. I mean, the other day I just saw that now there's Slim Fast Keto. So it's like all of these brands that are more marketing-based brands, all they do is they hop on the latest fad. Remember that. If you see a company and they're just jumping on whatever the latest thing is, then you know probably that they're in it for the marketing and the money, and they're not really in it to help people, the greatest amount of people. That's my opinion. So we spoke about these things on The Vibe Show. I will link that up today at stephencabral.com/1064. All right. Before we get into a nice little piece of research, I want to actually give you one of the books that I did read over the holidays. I'll be talking about this show. This was a podcast I was interviewed with Dr. Ron Ehrlich, and Dr. Ron wrote a book called A Life Less Stressed. Actually, a lot of similarities with which I wrote in The Rain Barrel Effect, but Dr. Ron actually comes from a dental-based background, so he has got a nice perspective. He talks about everything, like all forms of stress. So, a book called A Life Less Stressed. His podcast is called Unstressed. So, of course, that is his main niche, and it's really, really an excellent book. I was able to really comb through and read this book over just the period of about a day. It is a big book, but that's where I use my increased speed of reading to get through it, and I thought it was excellent. And so, it is a book that I could recommend to you. Talks about different ways of relieving stress in the body, some of it gut-based, some of it dental-based, hormone-based, posture-based. So, excellent book. I will link it up in the show notes today. All right? And of course, I'll mention whenever his podcast is released with me on that, because that was a fun show. He's recording down in Australia, I believe. All right, the last piece that I want to give you before I get into our lab number review, this will be a really important one because it is a follow-up from this week's show, and this Friday review, weight loss, is actually a follow-up from last week's super nutrient of the week. So we ended the year with calcium. Calcium was our super nutrient of the week. Well, really nice study. This study was done about 5 years ago now. And as I'm going through a lot of the research, because I'm actually going to be creating one of the only truly science-based metabolism products in the future. You'll see it probably this spring. It's going to take quite a bit of time to formulate to get exactly what I want. And again, these things are around for the long term, but it's completely science-based. Every dosage, like every milligram, every ingredient in it will be based on the science. And I'll go through, of course, all that science with you. And I'm not the person to tell you ever that you're just going to take this pill and lose weight. You'll never hear that from me. I'm not a marketer. That's just the way that it is. But what I'm saying is, if I can give you an extra couple pounds of weight loss per month through proven nutritional supplements, and a lot of this goes back to the ancient forms of healing as well that I studied over when I was in India, why wouldn't I share that with you, right? So if you take this and you still don't move and you're not eating well, that, of course, I'm not going to say is going to work for you. But if I can give you that extra edge, if I can give you another 20%, why wouldn't I want to do that? So anyway, today I want to share with you just a little bit of research. And this research was 81% of the participants finished this controlled study, and they actually supplemented with 600 milligrams of calcium and 125 IUs, which is a very small amount of vitamin D3. So they used the proper form of vitamin D. And what they looked at was their BMI, their body weight, body composition, waist circumference, blood pressure, and changes in triglycerides, total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, glucose, and insulin concentrations. So it wasn't just weight loss, it was, of course, overall health. And that's the thing that I'm most important in, right? I mean, the most important things to me are getting people healthy, because I know if I can get them healthy, then I know that they'll be going to be able to return their body back to their ideal body weight. That's just the way that it works. Well, here's what happened with that supplementation. So we had a improvement of, I'm just going to read the notes right here for you. So we had an 85% overall improvement. We had a minus 2.8 pounds in weight loss versus a 1.8 for. So it was 2.8 pounds lost for the supplement group with the calcium and vitamin D, and 1.8 for the control group. So what we have? Well, we had about 1 pound more. So still an improvement, not a huge, obviously, clinically significant, but what we did find that I found probably more interesting is that it helped to burn visceral body fat. Now, visceral body fat is more of the dangerous body fat that can surround the organs and is typically right around the belly area as well. So if you have a larger waist to hip ratio, there's more chance for cancer, there's more chance for heart disease, etc. So I was impressed with this enough to say, of course, we should be getting enough calcium, vitamin D in our diet. And this would work greatest for those people that are actually deficient in calcium for the meantime. So, here's another study. Again, all they did was give someone a little bit extra calcium and a little bit extra vitamin D. What if you were using, again, something more prolific? What if you're using something more like a daily activated multivitamin with all the methylated forms of the B vitamins and more than 125 IUs of vitamin D3? And what if you listened to last week's show and you ate more of those high calcium-based foods and used a little bit of calcium in the CalMag Complete, something like that? You'll be able to increase your body fat and weight loss efforts to an even greater degree, of course, using good, healthy nutrition and exercise as well. I'll be teaching more of that for sure this coming spring, and I do look forward to that. All right, and I will link this up in the show notes as well, this study. It's very, very small, easy to read PubMed study. All right, the last one I want to go through today with you is our new for 2019, Understanding Your Lab Results. So this is very important to me because for the most part, your PCP or MD, when you get your blood work results, they are not trained in reading this from a functional medicine perspective. They're not trained to understand the pathophysiology behind these numbers. What they know is that if it's out of range, then there'll be a specific type of medication to prescribe for this particular issue. They're not going to give you the lifestyle, the diet, the detoxification, etc. to help with that. Now, again, does this make them bad? No, it does not. But it means that the curriculum that they've studied in medical school does not prepare them to help with the root cause reasons of why these may be high. So what we want to do as functional medicine doctors or naturopathic or integrative health practitioners is the why, right? So that let's say you choose not to use the supplemental hormones, you choose not to use the statins, the calcium channel blockers, the Zantac, the Prilosec, the et cetera, right? Is that you choose to go deeper and find why there are these issues in the first place. Well, this week, let's see, it was episode 1062. We got a huge, a lot of comments, we'll put it that way, on Instagram when I asked people, does this show resonate with you? Is this helpful? Would you like to see more case studies in the future? And we got a resounding yes. So I'm really excited about that. I will absolutely do more case studies in the future. And the lab that I went over had to do with balancing hormones. So it went through all the cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. We went over thyroid and much more. So I do hope that you tune into that show. That was episode 1062. And listen how I go through a lab, how I talk about it with my health coaching team when they're meeting with their wellness clients as well. And this is how I'll be teaching it, of course, on video with the level 2 of integrative health practitioner certification. So what I want to do is now take a piece of that case study and go a little bit more in depth on the estrogen and progesterone today. So when you're looking at your estrogen and progesterone, whether you run it on blood work or you run it with saliva, which is what we choose to do, it's easier to do at home, is that you want to know when to take it. So to keep things standard, we need to take it at the same time each day. So we're taking ours first thing in the morning upon waking. And for men, it can be taken at any point during the month. For postmenopausal women, it can be taken at any time during the month. for women that are experiencing weight gain, water retention, headaches, skin issues, acne, hair growth, thinning of hair, lower mood, or other premenstrual syndrome symptoms, the best time to take it is right around day 19 or 20 or 21 of their cycle. Now, if your cycle is irregular, you're simply going to do the best that you can, and you're going to take those numbers when you have your highest level of symptoms. So you might start to feel a little bit more cramping or bloating or lower mood or tender breasts or anything like that. That is when you'll take this lab test. Now, what we're looking for women at that specific time is it's going to be their highest level of progesterone during their menstrual cycle. So that's called the peak of the luteal phase. And the luteal phase is taking place at the second half of the cycle, right? So if a woman's cycle is 28 days, I know not every woman's cycle is 28 days, but if yours is 28 days, the peak of that progesterone will be somewhere around day 19, 20, maybe 21. And what we're looking for is the highest level of progesterone you produce during your cycle. Now, at the same time, we're looking for lower levels of estrogen. On our lab, 1.5 or below. Progesterone above 150, ideally even 200 if you're below the age of 36. If you still have not hit menopause yet, we want your numbers still above 120 at that particular time frame. And we also then want to use the ratio, right? So the lab gives you the ratio, but it's very simple. We're going to basically divide the estrogen by the progesterone. And we want that number to be above 100. Now, if it's above 100, you're less likely to have what's called estrogen dominance, because estrogen should be higher in the first part of a woman's cycle. That's called the follicular-based phase. And so during that time, you're not going to get the abnormal symptoms of the water retention, the acne, you feeling like your hair is falling out or hair thinning, lower mood, overall inflammation, fibromyalgia, poor sleep, etc. So what we're going to find is that if the estrogen, though, is even normal, because it really is with most women we see, their progesterone's 1.2 or 1.5 during the luteal phase. Totally normal, right? But what happens is their progesterone might be a 49. Not 149, but a 49. And so what they do is they have normal estrogen, but they have all of the symptoms of high estrogen, right? Normal estrogen in a lab, but all the symptoms of high estrogen. And the reason is this, that the levels of progesterone are far too low. So you have a choice as a practitioner, right? A lot of doctors that are MDs, but they go into functional medicine, will right away give progesterone because that's more of their upbringing, we'll say, more of their teaching. And I don't have an issue with that. The problem is I'm always asking why, right? So I'm more of a why guy. That's what I do. And so I say, why the low progesterone? Well, we can always supplement with progesterone, and of course we'll use a natural-based version if we choose to, but very, very, very rarely do we ever use progesterone from wild yams in my practice. Very, very rarely. What we do is we ask why. So we know that there are reasons why progesterone may go low. So the largest reason we see in our practice is higher levels of cortisol, or what's called sympathetic nervous system dominance. Now, this can happen from poor sleep. It can happen from digestive issues. It can happen from, obviously, life, work, kids, all sorts of stress. But what we do is we also test those numbers along with that. I'll save the adrenal numbers for another show. But what I want you to understand is your estrogen to progesterone ratio, and that you can't just run it any time of the month. Yes, for a male, you'll absolutely run it any time of the month. And you do care about estrogen because if your testosterone is converting over to estrogen, and I'll talk about this on another show, then you're going to have more issues with gynecomastia. You're going to have a little bit more tissue growth around your nipple area. You're also going to be retaining more water, and you're going to have a harder time losing body fat, and you might even get some swelling of the prostate. So I'll talk about that in the future. So men and postmenopausal women can run their estrogen progesterone any time of the month. Premenopausal women, or even perimenopausal, if you kind of have a period, some months or a little bit of spotting, but not others, you will try your best to run it about 7 days before you get your period, right around days 19, 20, 21. So this will give you the markers that you should be at. And remember, life, your blood, your minerals, your vitamins, it's all about balance. It is all about balance. That's what we're going to be teaching in 2019, is it doesn't matter just a solo number. Your cholesterol never matters without knowing your HDL and LDL numbers, or even your particle size, right? Or your insulin levels. Like, it all matters. You need to look at a totality. So if you're running your estrogen and not running your progesterone, or vice versa, we need to know both. We need to look at them, and ideally you're running your cortisol levels with it so that you can begin to ask that question why as well. Hopefully this was helpful. If you like these topics for 2019, beginning to understand your own labs so that you can take back control of your own health, again, let me know right over on Instagram. Today's post will be the one on our Friday review, and it is episode 1064. For all of the show notes today, simply go to stephencabral.com/1064. I will link up the detox that our community is doing. I will link up the CabralSupportGroup.com. I will link up the Vibe Show, the interview I was on. I'll link up Dr. Ron Ehrlich's book. I will link up the calcium and with a little bit of vitamin D weight loss study. And of course, I will link up the thyroid adrenal hormone or adrenal hormone to get these estrogen and progesterone levels run, or to simply look at what the lab looks like and then find your own local practitioner as well. Hopefully this information was helpful, and if it was, as I always ask, please do feel free to share it with someone else it may serve.
Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.